you an oath?
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Then go ahead and have a seat over here, ma'am. Watch your steps. Once you get comfortable there, make sure the microphone is aimed at your chin, and then make sure the light is on the base. Mm-hmm. Okay? Ms. Sorgan?
Would you please state your name for the record?
My name's Connie Ulland,
And would you please spell your last name?
Ulland.
Connie, where do you live?
I live in Georgetown, Texas,
Where'd you live originally?
in Minot.
You had a brother, is that right?
Yes,
And what was your brother's name?
Marty Anell.
Is Marty your younger or older brother?
He's younger.
Now, you're aware that Marty died January 1st, 2009, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what were the circumstances of Marty's death?
He committed suicide in the garage.
Had you been close with your brother?
Well, we were 7 years apart, so he was always at family holidays or any get-togethers, and so we were. He lived a different lifestyle than me.
Okay. Did you speak with each other frequently?
Yeah.
Did you have other family that lived near Minot around the time of Marty's death?
My mom,
Okay. And she lived near Minot?
she lived in Minot.
Okay. At the time Marty died?
No, she had moved to New Rockford at that time, so she was like the last remaining relative in Minot.
When did your mom move to New Rockford?
In March of 2008.
How far from Minot is New Rockford?
About 2 hours driving.
Where were you living at the time that Marty died?
I was living in Rochester, Minnesota.
And how far from Minot is that?
That is full day drive, 10, 12 hours.
And you said your mom was the last of the family that was living in Minot, is that right?
Of the immediate family, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on in Marty's life in 2009, or late 2008, early 2009?
I really didn't know a whole lot. The thing that I knew was that Laura and Marty were having relationship problems, and it kind of came out when we were planning Marty's funeral, because when Laura came to the funeral home, she had this guy with her, and they just said it was like for support. And so then when the funeral was, he came again with her to the funeral. And then I finally said to somebody, do you know who this guy is? And she says, that's her boyfriend or her new, whoever she's going out with. And so I'm like, oh, poor Marty. He's losing, if they separate, he's losing his home, his job, and his girlfriend.
Now, why would he be losing all three of those things if they separated?
Because they both worked at the apartment complex. So they lived in an apartment there. That was his job. He was the maintenance man. And he would be losing his companion.
How long had Marty and Laura been together?
About 10 years.
Did you know Vern Olen?
Yes.
And how'd you know Vern?
He lived in our neighborhood, and Marty and Vern were lifelong friends.
How long had Laura and Marty lived together?
I can't answer that.
They'd been together for 10 years, I think you said?
Yes.
Did they live together most of the time or only part of it?
I would say, I'd say half of it, maybe.
Okay. What were holidays like in your family?
They were fun. Family got together. We had a nice time. Marty loved to cook. And so he had this big, I don't know what you call it, that you could barbecue in and whatever. And if he had the chance to cook for everybody, he was happy.
Were holidays important to Marty?
Yeah, he was always there. He did a great job of buying gifts. That's what's amazed me, because it's like, man, I don't do that job like that. And he's just went out and got great gifts for everybody.
Did your family get together in 2008 for the holidays?
No, because we were all scattered. There was just, at that point then, my mom would have been in New Rockford. I was in Rochester, Minnesota, and I had one sister up in Dallas and one in Seattle. And then my other brother, too, my youngest brother was up in Dallas at the time also.
Was Marty a hunter?
Yes.
Okay. What did he hunt?
I know he did bow with turkeys, and I think he did deer hunting. That's all that and he liked to fish.
Okay. What do you know about Marty and alcohol?
He used alcohol.
Could you be a little more specific?
He probably drank too much.
Is there a family history of that?
Yes, we have a family history of alcoholism, and then there's been other suicides in our family. It kind of seems like it runs in our family line on my dad's side.
So there's a family history of suicide as well?
Yes.
Okay. Can you be a little more specific as to certain family members that have committed suicide?
The first one was in 2007. It was our niece, my sister Jeanette's child. She was bipolar, and she had tried several times, and then she was successful. So that was the first one. And then Marty was the second one. I think Marty just didn't know where to go, what to do, and it just was the final straw for him. So he committed suicide January 1st, 2009. And then my sister, she committed suicide. It was her daughter that committed the first suicide. And Danette was in such traumatic situation. She wasn't even functioning very well. She had a very, very good job, and she had to lose that, and she committed suicide too.
Now, the niece who committed suicide, what was her name?
Beth Bonagovsky.
And what was Marty's relationship like with Beth?
He was an uncle, and when we see each other, he'd like to always joke around with the kids or tease them a little bit.
Would you say they were close?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever talk to Marty about Beth's suicide?
No.
How long before Marty committed suicide did Beth die?
Well, the first suicide with Beth was 2007, and then he was 2009. So 2 years apart, about, give or take. And then Danette was in 2011. So it's every odd year for those 3 year time periods.
Was Marty concerned about losing his job?
I would think so. I mean, he was losing his everything. His home, his girlfriend, and his place where he's living. He was losing everything.
Okay. Did Marty have any lines up for a new job?
I'm not aware.
I have nothing further, Connie. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Sand, do you have any cross-examination? Sorry, ma'am. Oh, ma'am, you're not done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying, Connie.
You're welcome.
And thank you for coming up here today.
No problem.
Now, you did an interview. I want to make sure I got the date right, but it was back in 2022 with Detective Carmen Asham and Kelly Sigler from Cold Justice. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. I know it was a little bit ago, it was a couple of years ago, but do you remember the contents of that interview, what you guys talked about?
I didn't even know about this murder case, and so I was kind of shocked when I heard about it. And they just asked me about Marty. I just talked about things that, whatever she asked me, I can't remember all the
So
specifics.
you didn't even know about that there was a murder involved with Marty being there, first person on the scene?
No,
He never talked to you about it?
I never talked to Marty a whole lot because we were just different lives, lived in different areas.
So you weren't that close?
No, I was going to nursing school at the time. And then, so I spent my time studying so I could get done with college because I graduated from Minda State University when I was 50. So I was like, go to college, get out. So I spent a lot of time studying. I kind of lost my social life.
I hear you. I hear you. So you didn't talk to Marty very much?
Not very much.
Do you recall in that interview telling Detective Asham that he was in jail for doing some drug deal or something like that?
I remember that. He was quite young at the time.
Okay. And I'm not trying to drag your brother through the mud. You understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is your interview, and I want to make sure we got it right.
Okay.
So on direct, you had told the state's attorney about his alcoholism issues.
He was never diagnosed, but I would tend to lead with our family genetics that he would be considered an alcoholic.
And according to your conversation with Cold Justice and Detective Asham, he had some drug dealing issues.
Only when he was young.
Okay.
Another thing, too, about...
You know, if I could, I just want to make sure you're answering the questions.
Okay,
It's
that's fine.
not allowed to have you go on narrative, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Connie. Do you recall talking to Kelly Siegler at the end of the call from Cold Justice?
Yes.
Remember her asking if they could use you in their documentary they were doing?
Yes.
Now, you talked about Vern Olen on direct as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some testimony earlier about Vern and his conversations with Marty. Were you close with Vern?
I just always knew he grew up in the neighborhood where we lived, and they were just friends from young on. And I think that was probably his best friend.
Okay.
And he confided a lot in Vern.
If he was going to tell somebody something, it was Vern, it sounds like, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he had something heavy on his heart, he was going to tell Vern.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you. I don't mean to discount your relationship with him, but you had said you guys weren't very close anymore.
No, not really.
He hadn't even told you that a girl was murdered in the apartment building you worked at. And he was
No.
the first on the scene.
No.
Safe to say you don't like Laura Knapp very much.
I liked her because she was a great companion for him until when I found out at the funeral that this guy was.
She doesn't sound very trustworthy to you, does she?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Objection.
The objection is what, Ms. Sargent?
Characterization.
Overruled.
Do you recall Kelly Siegler in the conversation?
Barely.
I'm sorry, I'm going to follow up. I'm going too slow for you. Do you recall her saying they were just calling you to try to clear your brother's name in this investigation?
Yes.
Yeah. She said, trying to call you to clear your brother's name. Is that right?
Is that what it says on the interview?
I can show it to you if that would help you a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is page 10 of the interview. This is the question. This is you. If you just put those two.
Okay, I read that. Yes, that
Does that sound right?
Mhm.
Trying to clear your brother out of this investigation.
Is that an answer, ma'am?
Yes.
Sorry. The mic's got to hear it. That's the important thing. Connie, that's all I got. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Oh, Connie, I
Please,
just have some
Connie.
redirect.
Please. Thank you.
Sorry, I know you're really eager to get going.
You have a flight to catch? Sorry.
No.
Ms. Sorgan, do you have any redirect, ma'am?
I do, Your Honor. Connie, Mr. Sand asked you about some drug deals when Marty was young, and you said, or at some point in time, you said that that was when he was real young, right?
Yeah, like probably late teens, early 20s.
How old was Marty when he died?
He was 46.
And then you also started saying something that you wanted to add, but you were cut off. What'd you want to add?
What was I saying right before that?
You had been talking about that he being engaged in drug deals when he was quite young, or drug deal when he was quite young.
Yeah, and I know he served some time in the Ward County Jail. And he never dealt in drugs. And I mean, it was a big lesson learned for him. And so he never repeated it.
Okay. And it was just that incident when he was in, from the drug thing, is that when he went to jail?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nothing since then?
No.
All right. You and your family always got along real well with Laura, didn't you?
Yeah, she called my mom, and she was nice. She was great in Marty's life.
Okay. Marty loved her very much, didn't he?
I think so. He did. I mean, they were just tight as you always saw them together.
Okay. So what would losing her have done to him?
I think it would have crushed him.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Sand, anything else?
Sorry, Connie. Yeah, just one thing. The state was just asking you about what you know about his drug past and him being in jail. You had said when you were testifying with me that you didn't keep in very close contact with Marty as he got older. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I was busy raising my kids and activities, and
So,
we're on different paths at our age.
right. So you knew about his drug dealing issues and drugs when he was younger, but as he got older, you don't know everything that was going on in his life. Isn't that fair
Oh,
to say?
no.
Okay, that's all I got, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Sorgan, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Is she here by subpoena?
Yes, she is.
Is she excused?
Yes, she is.
Mr. Sand, any objections?
No objections.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Now you may come and go as you please. Your next witness, Ms. Sorgan.
State calls Brenda Glynns.